Since currently top 6 in the Prem as we speak, and at the time of recording this, they're leading Lille 2-1 in the Europa Conference League too. I find it crazy what can happen in only 5 years, but what can happen in 10? Well, today we're going to find out because I'm taking charge of Aston Villa for the next 10 seasons. The goal is to win them as many trophies as possible, make them a juggernaut in English football, and ultimately make them Europe's most dominant club. So here is the starting 11 we've loaded into with Aston Villa, and let me tell you something right now. Whilst on paper this team is a bit all over the place, this is definitely one of the stronger teams in the Premier League. I mean, with players like Ollie Watkins, like Pau Torres, Moussa Diaby, and of course World Cup winner Emiliano Martinez. They've also got Leon Bailey too, who I for some reason have never given a second thought to use on career mode, but this guy looks like a beast as well. And out of the 44 players in the entire team, only 5 of them are actually 30 years old or older, man. This team is actually really young. And this just proves it, because out of the highest rated players, there's only 2 players who are 30 years old or above. Aston Villa's future's in very good hands. And on top of that, guys, we've got 76 million to spend with Aston Villa in season 1. But this time there's no wheel that we've got to constantly battle with to make Aston Villa amazing, but there is one rule that we do have to follow in the wheel's absence. I am only allowed a maximum of 2 signings for every single season of this takeover. And as you can see from the leaderboard, guys, there's no other teams on it. It's been completely reset. This is a fresh new series of takeovers. So the question is, guys, with the absence of the takeover wheel and a maximum of 2 signings a season, how many trophies can we win with Aston Villa, guys? There's only one way to find out, so let's kick in. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is change the formation to the 4-2-3-1 narrow. When I've sorted the team out properly, this will make total sense. And of course, we're using the Gegenpress with the 4-2-3-1 narrow alongside the Gegenpress is just a cheat code on SC24. And now that I've meddled around with the team a little bit, this is the strongest starting 11 we can field prior to making any signings in season 1. But there's a couple of things I'm doing behind the scenes, like converting Leon Bailey from a right midfielder to a left winger. I'm also converting Buendia from a right midfielder to an attacking midfielder. And I'm converting Jacob Ramsey from a left midfielder to an attacking midfielder. Now, Jacob Ramsey's a player I really want to build this team around. I'm going to make him the focal point of Aston Villa. But now that the tactics side's done, the question remains, where do we put this 76 million? Bear in mind, we've got a maximum of 2 signings to make every season now. Well, guys, I just spent 26 million on Pablo Maffeo. He's 25, he's 79 overall. We do need a younger right wing back, and this guy just fits the bill. And I'm after a new left back too, which is where Juan Miranda comes in, 23 years old, 78 overall. He looks like a bit of a beast in the making. This, of course, means I'm sending Luca Digne, Alex Moreno, and of course Matikash all out on loan. And I've just this second realised Matikash is a lot younger than he looks. I could have swore he was like 29 years old. Well, that's a great start. My first signing is someone who's basically identical to the player he's supposed to be replacing. But we can safely say we're improving the left back position with Juan Miranda joining us for only 16 million too. But now that the transfers are used up, behind the scenes, as you know, I've been converting players to different positions, starting with Leon Bailey. What's he going to go to? 83 rated, lovely. Then there's Buendia turning into a cam, and he's going to go to 81 overall. That's actually really good. And finally, Jacob Ramsey, what's he going to go up to? He's not changed at all. Okay, it looks like I'm learning Buendia out this year just to make sure this guy gets game time. But now that that's all done and dusted, here's how we're lined up for the first season of this takeover. And honestly, I feel like we can do a lot of damage. We're not going to win trophies in season 1, but we can definitely get a top 4 finish. Or maybe not, guys, as we are 9th in the Prem in our first season in charge of Villa. I honest to God thought we'd have done way better than this. But we did make the FA Cup final, just losing out to Man City. And we were in the Carabao Cup final, just losing to Portsmouth. And we made the Conference League final, losing out to Frankfurt. Oh my God, how unlucky have we been this year? I know some people might be calling me a bottle job right now, but this is just unlucky. There's a big difference. But Jesus, look at these stats, man, especially Ollie Watkins. 41 goals and 14 assists in 62 games. He's only 83 overall. This guy's been on smoke in season 1. And looking at this team, guys, they all look like they've been on smoke. The improvement has been absolutely insane. But looking at the table, our goal scored scored are pretty similar to the top 4, however, we are conceding way more, so maybe we focus our attention next year on the back 4 again. And the best thing is, guys, there is no wheel to spoil the fun, so we've got free reign to do whatever we want in Season 2. But before we get to Season 2, guys, I'm racing Rahman to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot let him beat me. So help a guy out, guys. If you are enjoying this video, leave it a like and smash that subscribe button. Help me beat Rahman to 100,000 subscribers. But ladies and gents, we are starting the new season with Villa with an absolute bang with our brand new signing. Andreas Christensen's joined us for 44.4 million. He's 28, 85 rated, and I honestly believe he's the last piece to the puzzle for us getting into that top 4. And yes, this does leave us 68 million to spend, but honestly, I don't think we need to spend it. And yes, you could argue that Miranda is the weak link in the team, but look at his development plan. It'll only take him 7 weeks to improve, and his development bonus is 34%. He's definitely got a lot more in the tank to give us. So the question is now, is the signing of Andreas Christensen actually going to help us get European football again, or is it going to be another flop? It's definitely not a flop, guys. We've won our first trophy with Villa, the Carabao Cup, beating United to do it. But we only made it to round 3 of the FA Cup, but you know what? We still won the Carabao Cup. And we're inside the top 6 again this season, guys. 5th in the league. We've got Europa League football for Season 3. And this time the stats indicate that it was a team effort this time. Diaby, Watkins, Leon Bailey all putting a right shift in. Unfortunately, Jacob Ramsey isn't performing well right now. 5 goal contributions in 38 games. Like, what is that about? I feel like if he has another stinker next season, we just replace him with somebody else, because right now, guys, we need to be winning as many trophies as humanly possible. And let's be honest, with this team that we've built so far, we definitely are on the right track to becoming not only a dominant force in England, but a dominant force in Europe too. But here's my dilemma for the new season. As you can see, these are the highest rated players in the team, and there's only a couple of them. Actually, no, there's only one player who's over 30 years old right now. And let's be honest, the state of that starting 11, realistically, we don't really need to mess with anything yet, do we? There is obviously Martinez, who's 32, but with him being 89 overall and him being a goalkeeper, we've got at least 4 or 5 years left in it. But guys, I simply can't justify having 174 million and not spending a penny of it. I feel like I'm going to have to be a bit ruthless here. But then again, maybe not, because I could just bring in a second choice keeper in case anything happens to Martinez. With us being in Europe again, this might be a pretty smart move. So I'm going to go for Dean Henderson from Palace. He's 28, 81 overall. He's nowhere near as good as Martinez, which means he won't get game time over him. But if anything happens to Martinez, he's good enough to fill in his shoes. And there we go, guys. £20.7 million later, we've got our second choice goalie. Now, going into Season 3, this is Jacob Ramsey's last chance with us, man. I mean, if he doesn't pull some big numbers this year, next season, I'm just going to find somebody who's going to. I mean, with the quality literally surrounding him right now, there's no excuse why he can't bag some goals and assists this year. And to be honest, from the team as a whole, I'm definitely expecting at least the double. And this is a great start. We have won the Europa League in convincing fashion. We smashed Benfica. And more importantly, this means we've qualified for the Champions League for Season 4. But we'd already done that, as we finished second this time in the Premier League. Every single season we spend with Villa, they just get better and better. But Brentford knocked us out in the FA Cup. And Chelsea knocked us out in the Carabao Cup. I find that somewhat realistic considering how bad Chelsea are in real life. But here's the moment of truth, guys. How has Jacob Ramsey done stats-wise? Has he done enough to keep his place next year in this team, or is he going bye-bye? He's only got 10 goal contributions in 50 games. That is honestly... How is he 86 rated pulling off them numbers, man? He is an absolute fraud. I mean, look at our front three of Watkins, Diaby and Bailey. If we had a central attacking midfielder gain numbers just as good as theirs, we'd be dominating every competition we're in. It's a real shame, because originally I wanted to build this team around Jacob Ramsey, and this may not go down well with you Villa fans, but the numbers speak for themselves, man. He's just not good enough. Now guys, in 3 seasons we've won 2 trophies so far, and honestly I think that's pretty damn decent, but I want to take you to the next level for the remainder of this takeover. And guys, I think the way to do that is by bringing in a replacement for Jacob Ramsey, and I'm going to bring in a player I've literally never used on FC24. I'm going for Jamal Musiala, guys. He's 23, 92 rated, and to my utter disbelief, he's not even playing for Bayern anymore. He's playing for Manchester City. And to be fair, that gives me even more reason to try to take him off their hands. We're offering 200 110 million. They want 6.4 million more. That is a done deal for me. Ladies and gents, we've got our replacement for Jacob Ramsey. And there he is in the Aston Villa shirt, man. I bet that's a sight you Aston Villa fans never thought you'd see. This means Ramsey's going to take a backseat for now. I think I'm going to loan him out just in case for some reason the game decides to play him over Jamal Musiala. And guys, we still somehow got 60 million to spend in Season 4, but I honestly don't think we need to spend it. I mean, just look at the state of the team now, especially with the addition of Musiala. And if he can manage to bag as many goals and assists as Leon Bailey, Ollie Watkins, and of course Moussa Diaby, then there's literally nothing stopping us from, as daft as this sounds, winning the Premier League title. And we were not far off at all, guys. 3 points away from being the best team in England, man. We even had the joint best goal difference with Manchester City. We also had 3 more draws than Manchester United, man. If only we could have won 1 more game. And to top it off, we got knocked out of the FA Cup by bloody Barnsley, man. That's just not a good sign of what we've done this season, is it? But hang on a sec, we have gone and won the Carabao Cup. We've also beaten Man City to win the Super Cup. But we did get grouped in the Champions League, 3rd in Group H, but that does mean we get Europa League football. And we've beaten Galatasaray 2-1 in the final, so somehow we've actually got the treble this year. I don't know if that counts as the treble, but I don't care. We've won 3 trophies, and that to me counts as the treble. And just look at Ollie Watkins, ladies and gents. 50 goals, 7 assists in 62 games, man. What a player he's turned out to be. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for Jamal Musiala. 5 goals, 6 assists, and 55 games. Like, why can't our attacking midfielders just do well, man? This is actually a joke at this point. And it's not like I haven't had any player instructions, guys. These are the instructions I've had since Season 1 with Jacob Ramsey. Like, can someone let me know if I'm doing this wrong, because I'm genuinely stumped. It genuinely might be because our attacking midfielder isn't as good at getting goals and assists as our other front 3 that we aren't winning the Premier League, man. That literally might be the difference. The good news going into the halfway point of this takeover, there's only 2 players above 30 years old, man. That's it. That's literally it. Our age situation is under control, and honestly, our future with Aston Villa looks very bright. But that is one of the biggest problems I'm facing right now, because we've got 265 million to spend in Season 5 and literally nowhere to put that money. I mean, come on, guys. For now, at least, this starting 11 is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there's no real reason to mess with it at all. I mean, you could argue we need to replace Watkins and Christensen because 31 years old. However, they've got at least 2 more years left in them before they start dwindling in overall. The only thing that makes any sort of sense is replacing Duran as our second choice striker. I mean, if anything happens to Watkins, this is the dude that we've got to rely on, and he simply isn't good enough. So with that being said, I brought Carlos Alcaraz in for 46.6 million. He's 24, 83 rated, and definitely got the potential to eventually be Ollie Watkins' successor. But that is all I'm doing, guys. We may have a stupid amount of money to spend, but honestly, like I've already explained, we just don't need to spend it. So the question is, how's this team going to do this year? Are we going to surpass what we did last year? Are we going to match it? Or are we going to do a little bit worse this time? Guys, we just missed out on the big one. We were 1 point away from the Premier League title. I am genuinely beyond gutted. Bloody goal difference was also separated us, man. We are getting so close yet so far every single time. But we have finally won the FA Cup in very convincing fashion. We've also won the Carabao Cup again. And we've beaten PSG to win the Super Cup. But we only made it to the round of 16 in the UCL before Atletico knocked us out. But hey, that's still the treble, guys. This team is bagging trophies left, right and centre now. And honestly, with how good it's become, I'm really not surprised. But Ollie Watkins is by a mile the best striker I've ever used, man. 42 goals, 7 assists in 59 games. Even Jamal Musiala's had a decent season this year. Not quite 200+ million good, but still decent. We just need to keep this going, man, because if we do, we're on course to surpassing 20 trophies in 10 seasons. But as we go into Season 6, guys, Martinez is really starting to go down in overall now. He went down to 91 last year, and it looks like if we keep him this season, he's going to dwindle down below 90 rated, so I feel like this year is finally the time to replace him. And the same applies to Ollie Watkins, but with Watkins, I feel like because of how well he's been playing, I'm going to give him at least 1 more year in the starting 11 before I decide to make a change. But what what I find bizarre, guys, Ollie Watkins is the same age as Christensen, yet Christensen's actually still going up. Considering how well Ollie Watkins has actually been playing, I thought he'd have had the same treatment Christensen's getting, but apparently not. But we've got a grand total of 359 million to bring in a replacement for Martinez, and honestly, I feel like there's only one player that's actually good enough to replace Martinez and actually do a better job. That's right, guys, I'm talking about Donnarumma, 29, 90 overall, and for those of you thinking this is unrealistic, you'll never join us, well, if you remember, cast yourselves back to last year, we beat PSG to win the Super Cup, so I reckon he'd actually be inclined to join us. And just like that, guys, for £100.1 million, Donnarumma now plays for Villa. But is he going to help us reach new heights with Aston Villa, or is he going to have the opposite effect? He's helped us reach new heights, guys. We finally won the Premier League. It is about goddamn time, man. 6 seasons, 6 long years it's taken us to do it, but we're finally the best team in England. We've also won the Community Shield. England is well and truly ours this year. But then again, maybe not, as Liverpool knocked us out of the FA Cup. And Arsenal knocked us out of the Carabao Cup. But this time we did do better in the UCL, reaching the quarters just to get knocked out to Barca. But is it just me, guys, or is this team underperforming just a little bit? Because I'm not being funny, we should be winning a treble at least every single year now. But guys, even at 33 years old, Ollie Watkins is still the best player I've ever used, man. 48 goals, 13 assists, and 55 games, man. Take a bow, lad. But guys, we've just reached the end of our 6th year in charge of Villa, and we finally hit the double digits mark. The question is, by the end of this takeover, are we going to hit 20 trophies, or are we just going to miss out on it? Now, I feel like we will miss out on that 20 trophy mark if we keep Christensen in the team any longer. His age has finally caught up with him, his stats are going down, it is time to replace him. But I'm going to make a big decision here. I'm going to keep Watkins in the team for at least another year or so. I mean, he's bagging goals for absolute fun, even if he is 33 years old, and even if he is going down in overall. I feel like I'd be stupid to replace him. As for the rest of the team, as you can see, these are our highest rated players, and there's only a couple of players actually above 30 years old, man. There's only a couple of positions we do need to focus on. One of them being the centre-back role where Christensen plays, and I'm replacing him with Jules Koundé from Newcastle. He's 30, he's 89 rated. This guy's an absolute beast, and I'm pretty certain I've not actually bought him yet on FC24. But that, ladies and gents, is no longer the case, as we've just bought him for £60 million. And this still leaves us with 372 million, man. Maybe having a maximum of 2 signings per season is actually too much. But regardless, guys, this is how the starting 11 looks going into season 7, and I'm hoping this is the year we can start getting some consistency. This team is undoubtedly good enough to win trebles and quadruples for fun. We just need to make sure from now until the end of this takeover we do it every single season, and that's exactly what I'm expecting. But apparently that's not what I'm going to get, as we only managed a 4th place finish in the Prem this year, man. What the hell's happened this season? But we have won the Community Shield, so that's trophy number 1. But Chelsea knocked us out of the FA Cup, so it stays at trophy number 1. And Wolves also knocked us out of the Carabao Cup as well. But hang on a minute, we've won the bloody Champions League, beating Barcelona 2-1 in the final. It's taken us so long, but we've finally done it. And just look at Watkins still, man. At 34 years old, 32 goals, 5 assists, 56 games. I genuinely feel like I'm going to keep until the very end of this takeover. But there's a couple of players now I'm going to have to keep my eye on, like Pau Torres, like Pablo Maffeu, and of course Leon Bailey, who are all 32 years old or above. It's a real damn shame because they're all world-class players, but as we all know, age catches up to everybody. And unfortunately, it's actually caught up to Pau Torres now. He's 90 overall, but as you can see from those stats and his development plan, he's going to go down quite quickly. And Leon Bailey's going down in overall, but he is 95 rated, so I reckon we can at least get one good year out of him before we have to think about replacing him. And we're going to get one more year out of Douglas Luiz too. He's 32 granted, but he's 90 rated, and he's actually still going up. So now we just need a younger and better centre-back than Pau Torres, but with us being 7 or 8 seasons deep into this takeover, that's not going to be easy. But I have actually managed to find someone. He cost us 100 million, but he's Ronald Araujo. He's 31, 91 rated, he's younger and better than Pau Torres. I feel like this is a no no-brainer. And he slots straight into the starting 11, no fuss, no muss, and he's actually one of our strongest players too. But I really hope the signing of Ronald Araujo is going to help us win trophies left, right and centre. We've not got long left with Villa, and I want to end this takeover with as many trophies as humanly possible. And this is a great start, guys. We are once again the best team in England by 4 points this time. That's trophy number 1. We've also won the FA Cup, and that's trophy number 2. We've also won the Carabao Cup, that's the treble. And we've won the Super Cup, guys. We've got the quadruple. But we got knocked out by RB Salzburg in the round of 16 in the UCL. That's just... how do we lose to RB Salzburg, respectfully? And how the hell did Genk get to the Champions League final? Come on, man. Genk got there, but we didn't. This team is genuinely insane, but I can't help but feel like it's just missing something, and I just can't put my finger on what it is. But then again, I could be chatting out my backside, because look at the state of these stats, ladies and gents. Ollie Watkins at 35 years old and Leon Bailey at 33 years old are tearing it up still. And to be fair, guys, going into season 9 of this takeover, we don't even have an age issue. There are players getting on a bit, but I'm keeping them there purely because they're our best performing players. But that does beg the question, where do we put next year's budget? Because with us winning a lot of trophies this year, you better believe we're getting a big amount of money to spend. Now, I don't know if I'm being greedy, but I expected way more than what we got, guys. 229 million to spend. However, I do know where we can put this money. As you can see, guys, we let a lot of deadwood go last year, so it's time to build our depth back up again. So I started by bringing centre midfielder Pablo Barrios in for 70 million. He's 28, 86 overall. He'll definitely be a good backup option for our midfielders. And it dawned on me, we've only got 2 wingers in the entire team, so I'm adding a backup, Barcola from Everton, 28 years old and 86 rated. And just like that, guys, for £77.1 million, that's our transfer window done for season 9. The question is, guys, can this Aston Villa team replicate what they did last year, or was it just a one-hit wonder? Well, so far it's looking very good. 23 points clear, top of the table. We are once again Premier League champions. And we've once again won the Community Shield, so that's 2 trophies straight away. But Man City beat us in the FA Cup final. And we lost to Brentford in the Carabao Cup final. But we've won the Champions League once again, this time beating Real Madrid 2-0 in the final. Oh my god, what a season. And just look at these stats, man. 36-year-old Ollie Watkins got 49 goals in 8 assists in 64 games, man. What a player. And we can't overlook Leon Bailey, man. 42 goals and 12 assists, 22 and 20 for Moussa Diaby, 11 and 6 for Dougie Luiz, and Musiala 11 and 13. Gotta say, for a 97 rated player, he's absolutely awful, isn't he? Maybe I was really harsh with Jacob Ramsey to begin with, but I thought for sure if I brought somebody better than him, they'd have done better, but apparently not. But we've got 1 more year left in charge of this Villa team to get as many trophies as possible, and I feel like for season 10 we go big with our transfers. Now, guys, I kind of find this hilarious. I was going to go for a new right back in place of Pablo Maffeo, but Trent Alexander-Arnold is the highest rated right back I could find on the transfer market. And as you can see, Maffeo is actually as high rated as Trent Alexander-Arnold, so it's literally pointless bringing Trent Alexander-Arnold into Aston Villa's team. So I'm just going to do the next best thing, ladies and gents, bringing Federico Valverde in from Juve. He's 34 granted, but he's 90 rated, and honestly, at this point in career mode, one of the best midfielders in the entire game. And there we go, guys. This is officially our last transfer of the takeover. For £50 million, we have brought in Federico Valverde. Now, as you can see from the leaderboard, we're only 1 trophy away from hitting 20 trophies in this takeover, and honestly, that was my target to begin with. But I can't see this team only winning 1 trophy this year, man. It's way too good for that. Let's hope we can get at least the treble, man. Let's get as many trophies as humanly possible. And this is a great start. We are once again the Premier League champions. We end this takeover as the best team in England. But we couldn't beat Man City to win the Community Shield this time. But we have won the FA Cup, so that's trophy number 2. And we've won the Carabao Cup, so that's the treble. And we've won the Super Cup, so that's 4 trophies. Could you imagine if we won the Champions League as well? 5 trophies to end this takeover. That'd be amazing. We came so close as well. Real Madrid got their revenge on us from last year. They knocked us out of the semi-finals 5-4 on aggregate. But you know what? I'll settle for 4 trophies, especially with the team looking this damn good, man. We have done an incredible job with Aston Villa. And just look at these stats, man. Ollie Watkins is without a doubt the most consistent and by a mile the best striker I've ever used on FC24, man. He's bagged at least 40 goals every single season, if I'm not mistaken. And that brings us to the end of Takeover stats, with Ollie Watkins obviously being our top goal scorer, Leon Bailey being our top assist hit, and we won 23 trophies overall with Aston Villa. And that means 23 is the number to beat for the next team we do a takeover with next week, and honestly good luck to them, because that is going to be pretty difficult to beat. But that is where this takeover comes to an end. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like on the video, smash that subscribe button as well. Remember, we're in a race with Rahman to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot let him beat me, so help a guy out, hit that subscribe button. And whilst you're still here, guys, you may as well click here to watch this video.